Plaintiff Heidi Gregory has been friends with the defendant's mother for 30 years, so she agreed to rent her home to the defendant. Heidi claims the defendant was a hoarder who had trash piled up to the ceiling. And 2 months after the defendant moved out, she attacked Heidi. She's suing for rent and emotional distress. Defendant Angela Gastrike admits that she's not the cleanest person in the world, but says she's a single mother who's doing the best she can. Angela insists she never laid a finger on Heidi, and she's countersuing for an illegal eviction and emotional distress.
Start with you.
I've been friends for 30 years with Angie's mom, and I've worked for the last 20 years with Angie's mom. And it come to be that she needed a place, and since I got married, I had my place free, and I offered my place for a reasonable rent of $600 to rent to Angie.
And now you want your place back. Your husband run off or?
Oh, no, I'm married very happily.
Oh, he's still there. Oh,
She
why
didn't
you?
pay the last month's rent.
Okay, I thought you just wanted your property back.
No,
okay.
no,
All right.
no. And I offered my place for a reasonable rent of $600 to rent to Angie.
And now you want your place back. Your husband run off or?
Oh, no, I'm married very happily.
Oh, he's still there. Oh,
She
why
didn't
you?
pay the last month's rent.
Plaintiff Heidi Gregory rented her townhome to the defendant, and she claims 2 months after the defendant moved out, she attacked Heidi.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It came to be that 2 months after I rented, I got a phone call from Angie saying I needed to come over. I had termites in my house and to come over that, to get it sprayed and taken care of course. And when I opened the door, something was hindering me from getting in. And this is how I walked in the house.
Why?
Because I couldn't get around, and I smelled something. I'm like, what is going on? There's stuff everywhere. And the trash was set up in the kitchen. It was sky high. There was trash after trash after trash after trash. And
so
the
you
kitchen.
think those weren't termites, those were roaches.
That's
were
really
roaches,
not
yes.
true.
All the dishes were piled up this tall and
Oh,
dirty
my
with
gosh.
food, Your
All
Honor.
right, you can step
Really?
back over it. And how did things go after that?
I told her that it was probably better off that she would move out, that I was giving her notice.
What
And
month was that again?
June-ish.
And what was that discussion? Did you all conclude whether and when she'd move?
She said it was illegal to kick her out and that I couldn't do it. She had children. And,
That is not
Let her
true.
finish,
I did
ma'am.
not.
Go ahead.
And I said, well, it's my place. It's not your place. And she goes, we'll see about that.
All right, let me hear from you.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you. As a matter of fact, the conversation started in July of 2015. And I have a text message right here
You
stating...
don't want to get a background on what she was saying? She said your house was filthy and that you were nasty and you had roaches all around, that she had to step over the food. And
I will state the claim that I am not the cleanest single mother there is. But you know what? I mean, I tried my best.
How many
with
children you have?
I just have 2 children, 2 daughters. But we're very busy, and I had just gone through a divorce.
That's understandable.
Yes.
All right, having gone through a divorce, 2 children, yeah. I can see that not being your priority.
So tidiness was not my strong suit.
Correct.
Let's just say that. But that doesn't mean I don't pay the rent, which I did.
All right.
So-
And so anything else you want me to know? Was she a good landlord?
I have a text message here. She wanted me to purchase the townhome from her. I was unable to get a loan for the home, which is fine because of one reason or another. So
things were still good, right?
Things were still pretty even keeled at that point.
No problem. She hadn't asked you to move
So when
or
she's
anything.
referring to I text her about termites, that was not at the beginning of the lease. As a matter of fact, that was almost towards the end of the time that I was there, probably May or June of 2015. But here nor there. It specifically says in the text, I'd like to wrap this up by November.
Just tell me what you all had discussed, ma'am. You don't have to read it. Tell me first. Do you remember what you all discussed?
Yes, sir.
Well, then tell
Yes,
me.
Your Honor.
Because she says that she wanted you to leave because of your nastiness. You said she offered for you to buy it. And at that time, everything was fine. So I need to know when things turned sour.
When I was unable to get a loan for the home, she had told me that she would like to wrap things up by November. So I tentatively started.
Wrap what up?
She wanted to try to sell the home, so she wanted me to leave.
Okay.
She did not give me an official notice. She did not give me a 30-day notice. She did not give me any kind of notice.
That's your counterclaim. So what did you say when she told you that?
I told her that I will start looking. She says, that's okay, that's fine, no problem.
All right, so you acknowledge an intention to move. All right, and let me ask you what occurred specifically to cause you to sue her for rent and emotional distress.
She did not pay the last month's rent. She said
And that was
a bad word to me.
What month?
On the October the 1st, when I came by to get the rent, and she goes, you kicked me out, getting another dime out of me. She goes, as a matter of fact, I'm suing you.
Was she
I'd like
living
to-
there?
Well, she was in the process of moving out.
And that was, you said prior to October 1st.
18th, October 18th.
On the 18th, she moved out, but
No, you didn't say October 18th.
rent
You
was
said
due
the
on the
beginning of
1st.
October.
I asked for the rent.
Right.
And she didn't pay me, but she moved out on the 18th.
Okay, that's the part I didn't hear. Moved
Okay.
on the 18th.
Sorry, Your Honor.
All right. And what was the agreement after she moved? Did she say, I'll pay you later?
She said, I don't owe you nothing, I'll sue you.
Plaintiff Heidi Gregory rented her townhome to the defendant, and she claims 2 months after the defendant moved out, she attacked Heidi.
Okay, she would sue you for what?
She took you to court.
She took me to court twice.
Why are you whispering?
I'm sorry, I'm
I
helping
need
my...
you to leave. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Ask her to
Oh,
leave.
Miss-
I'm sorry, ma'am. You're whispering her the answers,
There's
and
a-
you're not part of the case.
There's
a-
And I
Go,
haven't asked
go,
you as a
go.
witness. I haven't asked you, and you keep
I'm sorry,
whispering
Your
in her
Honor.
ear, and you're repeating everything that she tells you. So you're being coached, and that's not allowed in court.
No,
All
absolutely.
right, go right ahead. So, without being coached, you say she left on the 18th, and she would sue you or something
She
of
would
that
sue me. I
nature.
didn't know. I thought
All
she was
right.
kidding.
And what's the emotional distress for?
The emotional, she attacked me physically 2 months after all this happened in the store, pushed me 18 feet against the wall, and told me that I was an old bat and I was all wrinkled up, and she was going to get me
What did
somehow.
the police say?
Huh?
What did the police say?
By the time the police got there, she was gone.
That's
I filed a
most
restraining
criminals
order.
are gone when the police
I
come.
filed-
But that's why they follow up.
I filed a restraining order because I was afraid of her.
Okay,
Your
what
Honor.
about the police? You didn't go and file a police report? She had already assaulted you.
I was-
threw you 18 feet in public in front of dozens of witnesses. Why didn't you go to the police?
I called. I start stuttering when I get really nervous, and I
All
was
right, but
shaking.
the next day.
Well, they told me he goes, what's your eyewitness? And he said, you can file a restraining order, and that's what I did.
Even though there's no witnesses, you know, like when someone shoots you,
Mm-hmm.
if there's no witness, they'll still take your report. They'll come back after they've tried to question her. They knew who she was.
I should.
They would go to her and say, hey, Angela, you have a young lady says you threw her 18 feet, you attacked her.
Yes.
Let me hear your side, Angela. That's what the police would do. And then if she says, no such thing, they will put that in the report. Angela denies it. Then they hand it to the prosecutor, and the prosecutor will determine whether they have enough evidence. The police don't determine whether there's enough evidence. The prosecutor does. All right, so you failed to go to the police, but you went for a restraining order. You tell me about the attack in the market.
Thank you, Your Honor. Yes, I actually filed an order of protection as well. So,
Let's see yours.
and I have
Same day?
the next day.
All right.
So
Why?
it
What
was-
happened? What did she do to you?
Well, it actually began inside the store, and she was in the aisle next to me. I walked up to her because she was spreading gossip around.
You walked up to
at
her and
work.
did what?
I told her to stop spreading gossip at work about me
Then
and my
what?
children. And I walked away with my children. She proceeded to follow me and my children into the next aisle. You hoarder, you blah, 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 you be, every name in the book. And I proceeded to go up to the front counter. I got an employee. I'm like, I need somebody to control this woman. Me and my children are trying to leave, and I'm afraid, that she's going to follow me out, and I just want her to leave me alone. So I went out to my car. She stood behind my vehicle so that I could not pull out of my parking place. I told her, I said, Heidi, get out of my face. There is no reason to do this here. We're done. But that's about the extent of it. I went the next day, and she had some threatening words. So to my dismay, unfortunately, I was unable to call any witnesses. But as you can
that's
see—
That's enough. The judge dismissed both your petitions. He didn't grant either of you restraining orders.
That is correct.
Yeah, they were both dismissed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Yes, sir. Yes, Your Honor.
Judge didn't believe you. I don't believe you.
Plaintiff Heidi Gregory rented her townhome to the defendant, and she claims 2 months after the defendant moved out, she attacked Heidi.
All right, now let's get to the rent, ma'am. Why shouldn't you pay the rent? She said you voluntarily left.
Because she told me I didn't owe her any rent, and I have text messages right here stating as well that not only do I not have—
we're talking about the rent
Not
now.
only do I not have to pay the rent, but she told me that she offered to help me pay my deposit on my new apartment.
While she looks for that, did you tell her that?
My story's a little different.
No, you can answer yes or no. Did you
No.
tell her that you would help her get a place and that she doesn't have to pay you?
No, it wasn't like that.
You didn't tell her that. I'm not asking you what it was like.
No.
Okay. Defendant to plaintiff. Plaintiff, I will just walk over I will help you with your down payment for your new place. You did tell her you'd help her. You just told me you didn't. Your claim is dismissed. Judgment for the defendant. Have a good day.
I love you.